Hello, everybody. I'd like to begin what will be the last topic of the semester. It'll be a continuation of the natural language uh, programming or processing. And I'm basing this on on an old program that has been around for a while and is huge and is still there. It's called Psych. And the purpose of Psych was to try to to create a computer that could not only understand a natural language, but explain why it was doing it. And most importantly, use common sense. Now, it's spelled CYC, which is supposed to stand for encyclopedia. It's pronounced psych, SYCKE. But before I do that, I want to talk about the problems that common sense give us in trying to understand any language. There are at the bottom of this notes, which will be notes 16, I believe, you will find the some of the sources I use for this, especially the Stanford Data Language Inference corpus. Now, this is not something you like the looks of. It has a lot of parentheses in there, and I mean, this is what it looks like in its raw condition. And it does not make you, I mean, you look at it and say, what's going on here? What are all these parentheses? Best thing I could say is forget the parentheses, pretend they're not there. They're there because the language that we used in AI once upon a time was called Lisp, and Lisp was in love with parentheses. So that's probably why it's there. Even Python, if you remember, has lists with lots of parentheses in them. So ignore them, just get rid of them. What this has is every line has two sentences and an opinion called the gold label. Now I'm going to get back to the notes right here. The first line has as its first sentence, this church choir sings to the masses as they sing joyous songs from the book out of church. And it says, what do you think? Does that imply the church has cracks in the ceiling? And the answer, consensus opinion, is neutral. We just don't know. The second line says, this church choir sings to the masses as they sing joyous songs from the book at the church. Does that imply the sentence, the church is filled with song? The consensus is entailment, meaning that the second sentence follows from the first. If you have the first sentence in your database, then you should accept the second sentence. The third line says, does this same sentence imply a choir is singing at a baseball game? They left the is out for some reason or other. The consensus opinion is a contradiction. It just doesn't make sense. Now, why? Why are these opinions there? Because of common sense ideas. In the first sentence, singing in a building implies that the second sentence implies that the space is filled with music. It just seems anybody who's got common sense would agree. In the next one, we have the common sense idea that if it's singing at a church, it's not singing at a baseball game. Now, if the second sentence, if the sentence changed to a choir sings to the masses as they sing joyous songs from the book, then I'm not sure that we can respond to a choir singing at a baseball game. I think we have to be neutral because we're not saying the choir is singing in a church. So what I've done, I've also looked at an article which tries to give you a list of all the common sense ideas that are needed to do this natural language analysis. The numbers in here do not correspond to the numbers in our database, mainly because if I wanted to download that database, which is called RTE5, I have to get permission. I think it's free, but I just don't want to go through the rigmarole to get permission. Now, again, I want to make sure that I have the right number for this. Yes, these will be Artificial Intelligence Note 16. Also, we will be downloading another homework. This will be homework 11. It's due in a week and a half. And what I want you to do is look at the database that I'm putting out there. The database is a little less complicated than the one that I showed you. It doesn't have the rest of the material there. And again, ignore all the parentheses. And then, for example, say you were required to look at number 6. A woman with a green headscarf, blue shirt, and a very big grin. Now, do you think that that should imply that the woman is very happy? Well, the computer thinks so, because it thinks that a grin implies happy. Now, in the next sentence, the woman has been shot. Well, that seems contradictory to the idea that she's got a grin on her face. These are the kinds of questions I want you to look at. I've assigned each of you basically 30 lines. But the 30 lines each have, it's really only 20 things you have to look at. Because in each of the sets of 3, there's one that's an entailment, and one that's a contradiction, and one that's neutral. You don't have to look at the ones that are neutral. I want you to look at the entailments and the contradictions, and I want you to tell me what common sense makes you think that those are correct. So that's it. There may be one more homework, but I'm pretty sure there won't be more than that. So we'll see. I don't know if I can find anything else that I can do with this as a homework, but we'll see. So long now.